Your person stopped contacting you recently. The reason may surprise you. My beloved child, listen carefully, because this message has found you for a reason. You have been wondering why this person suddenly became silent. You have replayed conversations in your mind, searched for answers in quiet moments, and questioned whether something precious was slipping away from your hands. The silence has felt confusing. At times, it may have even felt like a door closing before you had the chance to understand why. But I tell you now, do not allow appearances to convince you that the story is over. What you cannot see is often more important than what stands before your eyes. There are movements taking place beneath the surface of your life that your eyes cannot yet fully recognize. The distance that troubles your heart is not revealing the entire truth. There is a deeper purpose unfolding, and I have been working within circumstances that neither of you completely understand. What seems like separation may actually be preparation. What feels like uncertainty may be guiding both hearts toward a greater understanding of themselves and of the connection they share. My child, this person did not simply walk away because their feelings disappeared. The bond they carried for you was real. The affection they felt was sincere. They imagined possibilities, dreamed about tomorrow, and allowed their heart to travel into places where hope lived freely. Yet as time passed, questions began to grow within them. Certain things remained unresolved in their spirit. Some fears they never fully expressed. Some concerns they struggled to explain. They noticed things they could not immediately understand, and rather than speaking openly about every uncertainty, they carried much of it in silence. Their heart became divided between love and confusion. They wanted reassurance, but they also needed clarity. The deeper their feelings became, the more important the truth became to them. Instead of moving forward while carrying unanswered questions, they stepped back to search for understanding. Their distance was not born from a lack of care. It came from a desire to discover whether the foundation beneath the connection was strong enough to support everything they hoped it could become. You interpreted their silence through the lens of your own pain. That is natural, my child. When communication fades, the human heart often fills empty spaces with worry. You wondered whether they had forgotten you. You questioned whether they still thought about you. Some nights, you may have convinced yourself that they no longer cared. But while you were carrying those thoughts, they were carrying burdens of their own. There were moments when they missed you more than they admitted. There were times when your name crossed their mind unexpectedly. Memories returned to them when they least expected it. They remembered laughter, conversations, dreams, and moments that felt meaningful. Yet they remained quiet because they were trying to understand themselves. They were searching for peace within areas of their heart that had become unsettled. Their silence was not always comfortable for them. In many ways, they struggled with it too. What appeared simple on the outside was far more complex within their spirit. I want you to understand something important. Not every period of distance is a sign that love has disappeared. Sometimes distance reveals what constant closeness cannot. When two souls are separated for a season, hidden emotions rise to the surface. Unspoken fears become visible. Personal wounds that were ignored begin asking for attention. Lessons that could not be learned during comfort become clear during reflection. This is why many people mistake a season of silence for a final goodbye. They only see the absence. They do not see the transformation occurring beneath it. While you were waiting for answers, growth was taking place. While you were questioning the future, understanding was being developed. While you were focusing on what seemed lost, deeper wisdom was being formed within both hearts. The path was not easy, but growth rarely happens without moments that challenge the soul to look deeper than appearances. My child, there were nights when this person sat alone with their thoughts and wrestled with emotions they could not easily explain. They asked themselves difficult questions. They examined their choices. They reflected on what they truly wanted. They looked at their fears and recognized places within themselves that still needed healing. They thought about you more than you realize. Yet they also knew that rushing forward without inner peace would only create greater confusion later. They desired certainty. They wanted to understand whether what they felt was rooted in truth rather than temporary emotion. This process took time. It required patience. It required honesty with themselves. Many of the answers they sought could not be found in conversations with others. They had to be discovered within their own heart. That journey led them through moments of reflection that neither you nor anyone else could fully witness. Throughout this process, I was present. I was guiding what neither of you could control. I was teaching lessons that words alone could never teach. I was revealing strengths you did not know you possessed. I was showing both of you where fear had influenced decisions. I was uncovering places where trust needed to grow. I was illuminating areas where old disappointments still affected present choices. Sometimes my work happens quietly. Sometimes my greatest movements occur during seasons that appear still from a human perspective. Yet even when nothing seems to be changing, I remain active. Even when answers appear delayed, I remain faithful. Even when the road feels uncertain, I continue leading those who seek me. What you called waiting, I called preparation. What you called confusion, I called refinement. What you called silence, I called growth. As time continued, this person began seeing things differently. Reflection brought understanding. Distance created perspective. They started recognizing not only your strengths but also their own responsibilities. They understood that genuine love requires honesty, patience, and courage. They realized that avoiding difficult truths does not create peace. Real peace comes when the heart is willing to face reality with sincerity. Slowly, the fog that once clouded their thoughts began lifting. The answers they searched for became clearer. The emotions they struggled to organize started making sense. And through all of this, one truth remained consistent: the feelings they carried did not simply vanish. Their affection endured the questions. Their care survived the uncertainty. Their heart continued holding space for the possibility that something beautiful could still emerge from what seemed broken. My beloved child, many people assume that love grows only through constant togetherness. Yet some of the strongest bonds are strengthened through seasons of reflection. A heart that has examined itself learns to love more wisely. A soul that has faced its fears learns to trust more deeply. A person who has walked through uncertainty gains appreciation for what truly matters. This is why certain journeys cannot be rushed. Growth requires time. Understanding requires patience. Wisdom develops gradually. If every question were answered immediately, many valuable lessons would never be learned. If every challenge disappeared instantly, deeper strength would never emerge. The season you have been living through has carried purpose, even when that purpose felt hidden. Nothing has been wasted. Every tear, every question, every moment of reflection has contributed to a larger story still being written. There came a moment when this person could no longer ignore what their heart was revealing. The truth they had been searching for became impossible to deny. They recognized that their feelings had remained alive beneath the surface. They realized that distance had not erased the significance of the connection. Instead, it had highlighted it. What once felt confusing began making sense. What once felt uncertain became clearer. And within that clarity, courage began to grow. They understood that if a future was to be built, it must be built upon honesty. No more assumptions. No more hiding emotions. No more allowing fear to speak louder than truth. They knew that real connection requires openness, and they became willing to express what they had once kept hidden inside. When the time arrived, emotions rose to the surface. Memories returned. Questions demanded answers. Feelings long held in silence finally sought expression. The moment carried vulnerability because truth often does. Yet it also carried healing. They opened their heart and revealed what had been hidden. They explained that their distance was never intended as punishment. They shared that they needed time to understand themselves and the connection they cherished. They admitted their fears. They acknowledged their confusion. And most importantly, they revealed that their feelings had remained present throughout the journey. The honesty of that moment created space for understanding. Walls began falling. Misunderstandings began dissolving. What had once seemed impossible to explain suddenly became easier to understand when viewed through the light of truth. My child, the greatest revelation was not simply that communication could return. The greatest revelation was discovering that love had continued existing even when words were absent. Human beings often believe that silence means nothing is happening. Yet many important things grow in silence. Seeds grow beneath the soil before they become visible. Wisdom develops within quiet reflection. Healing unfolds in unseen places of the heart. Likewise, genuine affection can continue existing even during periods when communication is limited. This does not mean every story follows the same path, but it does mean that appearances are not always reliable messengers. What seems finished may still be unfolding. What appears lost may still be finding its way. What feels delayed may still arrive at the perfect moment. So today, release the belief that silence automatically means rejection. Release the fear that distance always signals an ending. Trust that I see the full picture when you can only see one chapter. Trust that I understand every conversation left unfinished, every emotion left unspoken, and every question still waiting for an answer. Continue growing. Continue healing. Continue becoming the person I created you to be. Do not allow uncertainty to steal your peace. What belongs in your life will not be diminished by time. What is meant for you will find its way according to my perfect wisdom. Whether through restored communication, renewed understanding, or greater personal growth, every experience carries purpose when placed in my hands. Remember this, my beloved child, the story is not defined by silence. It is defined by what is learned, transformed, and revealed through it. And sometimes, what feels like the end of a chapter is simply the beginning of a more beautiful one that neither heart could have imagined before. My beloved child, there is something more I need you to understand. During this season, you have focused much of your attention on what this person was thinking, feeling, and doing. Yet there is another part of this story that deserves your attention. While they were being transformed, so were you. Nothing that has happened was meant only for their growth. I have been working within your heart as well. I have been teaching you lessons about patience, trust, self-worth, and faith. There were moments when you wanted immediate answers, but instead, I invited you into deeper trust. There were days when you searched for certainty, but I asked you to lean into faith. Every unanswered question became an opportunity for you to discover that your peace cannot depend entirely upon another person's actions. Your strength was never meant to come from constant reassurance. It was meant to grow from knowing that I remain with you through every season, every question, and every unexpected turn along your journey. There were times when loneliness whispered stories that were not entirely true. It tried to convince you that you were forgotten. It attempted to make you believe that your value depended upon someone's ability to communicate with you. But my child, your worth has never been determined by another person's silence or attention. Long before this connection entered your life, you were loved. Long before anyone spoke your name, I knew your heart. Long before you wondered whether someone would stay, I had already chosen you. The affection of another person can be beautiful, but it should never become the sole measure of your value. I wanted you to remember who you are apart from this relationship. I wanted you to rediscover strengths that had been hidden beneath your fears. I wanted you to understand that you are worthy of love, respect, honesty, and kindness regardless of what any season may look like. As you moved through this period of uncertainty, I watched you carry questions that sometimes felt too heavy. You looked for signs. You replayed memories. You searched for hidden meanings within conversations from the past. You wondered whether things could ever return to what they once were. Yet while your thoughts were focused on yesterday, I was preparing you for tomorrow. The future I am shaping is not built upon confusion. It is not built upon fear. It is built upon growth, wisdom, and truth. Sometimes people spend so much energy trying to recover the past that they fail to notice the beautiful future being prepared before them. I do not want you to become trapped inside old chapters. I want you to learn from them, treasure what was meaningful, release what no longer serves your growth, and walk forward with confidence. The story ahead cannot fully unfold if your heart remains chained to every unanswered moment behind you. My beloved child, understand that love reaches its fullest expression when it is accompanied by truth. Feelings alone cannot sustain a meaningful connection. Affection alone cannot carry two souls through every challenge they may face. Real love requires honesty. It requires courage. It requires the willingness to communicate openly even when emotions feel uncomfortable. Through this season, both of you have been learning these lessons. What was once avoided can no longer remain hidden. What was once left unsaid must eventually find its voice. Growth often demands conversations that people once feared having. Yet these conversations create opportunities for healing, understanding, and renewal. The purpose of this journey was never to create endless uncertainty. Its purpose was to bring hidden things into the light so that stronger foundations could be built moving forward. There were moments when this person looked back and realized how much your presence had influenced their life. Certain memories continued returning to them with remarkable clarity. They remembered your kindness. They remembered your support. They remembered the comfort of feeling understood. These memories were not erased by distance. If anything, distance often highlighted their significance. Sometimes people only fully recognize the value of something when they step away long enough to view it from a different perspective. This realization became part of their journey. They began seeing aspects of the connection they had previously overlooked. Gratitude started replacing assumptions. Appreciation started replacing confusion. Slowly, their understanding deepened, and with that understanding came a greater awareness of what truly mattered to them. At the same time, I was inviting you to grow beyond fear. Fear often asks questions that faith cannot answer immediately. Fear demands certainty before taking another step. Fear focuses on everything that could go wrong. But faith chooses to trust even when every answer has not yet arrived. I know that this has not been easy. There were days when your emotions felt like waves moving in different directions. One moment hope appeared strong, and the next moment doubt attempted to take its place. Yet through every emotional rise and fall, I remained constant. My presence did not disappear when your confidence weakened. My guidance did not cease when your patience was tested. Even when you felt uncertain, I continued leading you. The journey has never depended entirely on your ability to see the path ahead. It has depended on my ability to guide you one step at a time. My child, some of the most meaningful transformations happen quietly. They do not arrive with great announcements. They develop through small decisions made consistently over time. A heart becomes stronger through daily healing. Wisdom grows through repeated reflection. Trust deepens through continual surrender. While you were focused on receiving answers, transformation was taking place within both lives. Old patterns were being challenged. New perspectives were emerging. Emotional maturity was growing. What once felt impossible to understand slowly became clearer. This is why patience is so valuable. Patience allows growth to complete its work. Patience creates room for understanding to develop. Patience gives truth the opportunity to reveal itself naturally rather than being forced before its proper time. I also want you to remember that every person carries experiences that shape how they respond to relationships. People carry memories, disappointments, insecurities, and hopes into every connection they enter. Sometimes these hidden experiences influence choices more than they realize. This person was not only responding to present circumstances. They were also navigating emotions connected to their own personal journey. Certain fears did not begin with you. Certain uncertainties existed long before your paths crossed. Their season of reflection became an opportunity to confront these inner struggles. Rather than continuing to ignore them, they were forced to acknowledge them. This process was not always comfortable, but it was necessary. Growth often begins when people become willing to face truths they have avoided for a long time. As understanding continued to grow, something remarkable began happening. The connection was no longer being viewed through the same lens as before. Instead of focusing only on emotions, both hearts were learning the importance of purpose. Instead of seeking only comfort, they were beginning to value truth. Instead of chasing quick solutions, they were developing appreciation for genuine growth. This shift changed everything. A relationship built only upon feelings can struggle when challenges arise. But a connection strengthened through wisdom, honesty, and mutual growth possesses a much stronger foundation. What is being developed now has the potential to become deeper than what existed before because it is being shaped by lessons that neither of you previously understood. My beloved child, do not underestimate the power of timing. Human beings often want everything to happen immediately. They want clarity now. They want resolution now. They want every question answered without delay. Yet many beautiful things require preparation. A seed cannot become a tree overnight. Wisdom cannot be rushed into existence. Trust develops gradually. Meaningful relationships often mature through experiences that teach patience, understanding, and resilience. Timing is not an obstacle when it is guided by purpose. Timing is often protection. Timing allows growth to occur before opportunities arrive. Timing creates conditions where lasting results become possible. What seems delayed from your perspective may simply be unfolding according to a schedule greater than your current understanding. There will come moments when you look back on this season and see details that are difficult to recognize right now. You will notice lessons hidden within disappointments. You will recognize growth that emerged from uncertainty. You will understand why certain events unfolded the way they did. What currently feels confusing will eventually reveal meaning. What presently seems unfinished will make more sense when viewed from a broader perspective. This is one of the reasons I ask you not to lose hope. The chapter you are living through is not the entire story. The page you are reading today is not the final page. There is still more to be revealed, more to be learned, and more to be experienced. So release the need to control every outcome. Release the pressure to force answers before their time. Release the belief that silence has the authority to define your future. Continue walking forward with dignity, grace, and faith. Continue investing in your own healing. Continue becoming the person I created you to be. Whether this connection unfolds exactly as you expect or in ways you do not yet anticipate, trust that I am guiding your steps. Trust that I see what you cannot see. Trust that every lesson has purpose and every season carries value. And above all, remember this, my beloved child, genuine love is not strengthened by fear. It is strengthened by truth. It is strengthened by understanding. It is strengthened by patience, compassion, and growth. The silence you experienced was never the complete story. There were lessons being written beneath the surface, hearts being refined beyond what eyes could see, and paths being prepared that neither of you fully understood. Continue trusting the process. Continue trusting my guidance. For what is meant to flourish in your life will not be lost through a season of reflection. And what I am preparing has the ability to become more beautiful, more authentic, and more meaningful than anything you could have imagined when this journey first began.